touch it down with, and poof, it's right back to just the way it was. There's no rust, there's no.
And the cost of doing that, of the steel boxes, you're looking at $2,500 to $4,500, depending on how rusted it is.
Yeah.
And what type of paint you want on it. They have different grades of paint that will hold up longer.
But like on the 4900, well, it's one of the things I brought down. The frame rails on the body, you can look right straight through them and see the chain going around and around, and yeah, that's.
Well, it's handy.
It's not.
It's easy to inspect. You can make sure the chain's good, right?
Yeah. It also means it's very weak.
Yeah, I understand. I'm joking. I guess that's where I'd like to get to. I mean, that to me is, the vehicles are a huge part of what we spend, and it's not just your guys. It's police, it's fire, it's ambulance, it's everything. And how do we do things more efficiently, and how can we spend less money? I know there's a way to do it.
And I think we're headed in the right direction by getting these stainless steel bodies, because now you just can get rid of the chassis and put the bodies back on and run them another 2 or 3 trucks.
I don't disagree with that.
And we have 3 stainless steel ones now, so I think we're headed in the right direction. We just need to keep pecking away at it.
And it does make sense in that, and if the cost of a chassis versus a chassis with all that is, if the price difference is such that it makes sense to do it that way, then.
It's all, for the plow equipment in the bodies and stuff, it's darn near as much as the chassis. So.
Yeah.
So you'd be saving that whole body plow equipment number.
Before we, and do you want a history on Prentice Hill Road, how it came to be? Or you want to wait for that some other time?
We can wait for that.
Okay.
That's it? All right. Well, we can't go into one thing that's sort of related.
You're going to have your 7 o'clock. You're going to have your 7 o'clock.
My post-meeting meeting.
Your non-public.
We will be doing that.
At 7?
Probably not at 7. Did we say at 7?
It's 7 right now.
We're not going to get to everything before that, but we'll try to get through this quick. We had talked, and this sort of refers to David, we talked about a transfer station group, and I said that I will put together some thoughts on how we might organize that. So the idea, David, is get a group consisting of guys from the select board, guys from your department, or girls from your department, AABC, a representative from Langdon, because they use our services, and take a look at various things. What we don't want to do is throw a group together and say, go do whatever you think we need to do. We try to give it a little bit of direction. So I did prepare some stuff, and I'll read this off, and you guys let me know what you think, and we can make changes to it. 1, form a group to look at current transfer station organization, operations, cash flow, and other finances. In other words, take a look at the status quo. What are we doing today? 2, investigate alternatives to our current operations that will reduce overall costs of transfer station services to the taxpayer. What's out there that might save the taxpayers? 3, present the following findings to the select board. A report on current transfer station operations, etc., everything I covered there. B, a report on alternatives that meet number 2, which is reduced cost. And C, provide recommendations to the select board that may be I, status quo, 2, changes in organization, operations, or other related areas that fundamentally preserve the status quo. In other words, what you're doing now, but tweak these couple of things.
Improvements as opposed to changes.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to change that to improvements. That's a better word. Or 3, an alternative methodology that meets number 2. We need to say that. I'll put this in the form of, I'll pass this off to you, and if you could get it to these guys, that would be good. Does that sound basically like what we're talking about? All right. from you, David. Any thoughts on that? It's just
Um,
trying to take a deeper dive into what we're doing now and see if there's less expensive ways to do what we do.
All I can tell you is have at it. I think we're doing the best we can do. But, we did, take another load to Moorways of scrap iron, and they gave us a lot better price.
Good.
Because the stuff that is in our loads of scrap is more valuable. So we've got a higher price on our scrap now.
Good.
Per ton.
Good. And you guys do periodically shop those prices for...
Yeah. Well, that price there's no place to take it anymore, other than Concord.
Right.
So you gotta weigh what they're gonna give you in Concord versus what they're gonna give you in Charlestown.
Yeah. A little bit of mileage difference.
Just a
there.
little.
All right. Then we'll work that out. Actually, I'm just gonna...
Can Kelly read that?
It's a good test. Have at it.
I give you my stuff all typed up.
Really? Unbelievable. All right. Anything else for David?
Couple things, we were talking about roadside mowing, and also mowing Miller Green and that stuff last time.
Yes. So roadside mowing, we had talked about it requiring there being other equipment out there that we may either
Yes.
be able to rent or get someone else. Have we looked any further into that?
I have got a hold of, Owens in Claremont. They haven't got back to me yet,
Okay.
but this is just when they're starting to do everything too.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting for,
Keep on.
I'll call them again tomorrow.
Good.
As far as the mowing of the green and all that stuff, Brad and Randy come down a couple of days and they've been getting everything cleaned up. The only thing I got left to clean up is a common in Alstead Center. And it's ready to start mowing.
Okay. And I know we had talked about various alternatives to that.
Yep.
Julianne?
Are trees coming down in Alstead Center?
Nope,
Okay.
they shot down the budget, the lumber.
We're gonna come down one there.
Yeah, oh, they'll come down. And, the guy that gave me the numbers for up there said if we try to do that next year, those numbers will still be good. So. And that's Phil Davis's tree service.
Bobby?
What about the brush hogging, the violets in the field and closing the gate on the hill?
Brush hogging up at Violas.
At the pool?
In the field behind the pool, correct?
Right.
Up on top.
Right.
Close the gate.
Behind the bell tower?
The gate,
So
so
the,
that would even get out. I don't know.
so we got the gate
Can
open.
you reach it?
What's that?
Can you reach it?
I don't know. Not even, I don't have anywhere near enough stick to get out there.
The gate was open, that's what I'm
It is
saying.
still
It's going
open,
to be
yes.
closed.
You said it needs to be dug out.
Summer.
First.
Okay, so what's going to happen there?
It's up to these guys, you have to
That's
hire
what I'm
somebody.
asking.
Oh, the gate and the dam?
I love this.
You're saying it's functionally closed right now anyway, right?
It's functionally closed with
It's basically
debris.
closed.
Oh, it is, well, it's closed by the
Debris,
debris.
yes. Well, right in the middle of the winter, for some reason, everything went out of it. And then we had that high water and stuff, and it come down and it plugged it hard. So, I have no idea what's in there now.
I don't get to
It's
laugh,
not
but
gonna be pretty.
we spend money so we can finally open the gate. We opened the gate.
I thought we left it open though.
So have you got any,
But it's
But
well,
no,
we can't close it.
have you got any update on inspection of the dam or anything, or?
Don't believe so. We're still waiting
We're
on
still
that,
waiting.
correct?
Both of us have put some calls in, so we'll keep at it.
Okay.
I mean, as long as you're plugging forward, then
Yeah.
Mother Nature, you can't really fight that, but DES sooner or later is gonna say, you do something.
Yeah.
Well, the state went ahead and stopped it today. So that's
Well,
good.
hopefully it won't go out.
They're gonna go out, so I guess that's good. Also, I don't know what it's called, the chain or whatever that goes across. I know it's in storage and by the men's
Yeah.
that needs to be up of the dam, just to, it would make all of us feel safe, and insurance would like to add it up.
Yeah,
Is that on a schedule? Do we typically do that at a particular time of the year, spring or
usually it's.
Before opening day, which is June 1st.
before June 1st? Okay. So sometime this month.
If the water gets down, well, just walk across the dam and do it. It's not. Because if you don't take it off with the logs and stuff, what are we gonna do with that big log on the dam?
I don't know, what are you gonna do with it?
I gotta send it downstream. Here we go again.
Actually, there's a big, the fence post that we lost, it's hanging on that log too, so if you happen to be able to grab it, we won't have to buy it. Oh, no, I think it's on the dam halfway out, never mind, you might have a hard time getting it out. Yeah.
I thought I got one full.
So would it be to the town's interest to at least get a price on what it would cost to get an excavator in there and pop that open again? I mean, just so we have the numbers, in case DS comes down and says, do it.
You gotta build a whole nother.
No, they left it there.
They left it
They
there,
left it
before
there.
this.
They left that there.
Well, I see someone with a big stick to go down in there and pull it.
There's a big story behind that, and we ain't gonna get into that here, because that kid was looking at me like I should have been where I was, so.
And we spent a lot of money for it to let it stay like this, we really do.
How much was it, the whole Fuzzy Brothers over down there?
Isn't that much. I mean,
Thing?
I thought it was 6,000, 10,000. My way
a
out.
lot lower than the
Lower than the estimate, so I
the
would.
estimate was.
Right.
And a lot of the cost was savings because they left that platform there
Yeah.
for them to get in there, which has probably gonna have to be removed for DS to inspect the upstream side of the dam anyways.
I don't know, what we can ever do that's gonna always keep it completely functional all the time, because we contend with logs. We contend with debris and gunk, and we contend with the weather. Is there something we're not doing that we should be doing that would reduce these costs? Bobby, seems like
I
you
wish
may have an
Steve
opinion.
was here, because he could talk to you about how they handled it years ago. And it was basically a weekly situation, they would go up there and turn the gate to make sure things were going up, and then turn it back and forth. I'm not sure the process, but that's how they kept it running all that time. So he would be a good one to talk to.
But the logs are always gonna be an issue.
Right. And back then, you didn't have all the slides along the river because you didn't have the high water and stuff that you have nowadays. And it's raining down just oodles and oodles of stuff from
All
upstream.
coming from Ackworth.
So I've been here 30 years and I've taught with that thing ever since day one. And before I come to work here, I used to work for Whitcomb's, and we'd go over there and spend weeks in there cleaning it up, knocking it out.
So maybe we should ask Fuzzy Brothers what they think, and then, of course, we're gonna have to contact the state. If they're gonna tell us we put more water and all the fish are gone.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? All right. Let's see if we have preliminary. I wanted to talk a little bit about the brush fires, forest fires, and our budget. I talked to Kim after the last one. Just want you to know, our budget shot.
So shop before the last one.
Yeah. So what I don't completely understand is what is the process from here? Other departments are gonna begin submitting bills to us for their hours, just like, we dealt with the slaughter farm. to completely exhaust our budget, where do we go from there? Do we apply for,
Rob, you do pay all?
Yes.
yeah, well, that's my question. I mean, is that the only alternative we have, or is there some source of state funding that kicks in that we can go to?
Not that I know of, but
I think we
your
just-
budget's your budget, so
Yep.
Yeah.
unless it was you could declare a disaster, then I think it kicks into something else.
The parental vote, too.
I knew that was coming.
But yeah, I would recommend to tell the departments to take it easy to get a grip on what we got for costs of this whole.
So when do we meet with Kim? Next week?
Next week. Yep.
Good. You might reach out to him and just say, you know, if he can put together any preliminary numbers, if he has them, or real numbers on the costs to date, I just hope this stuff is over. Yeah.
Is there any time, I guess the other question would be, is there any time frame that other departments have to bill us? In other words, we don't want to wait 2 months and then get $10,000 worth of bills.
Right, right. I'll have to check that, because I don't know.
Yeah, and it's my first time with that particular rodeo, and I've dealt with this.
Usually the state likes them as soon as possible, so
Yes.
everybody's really good about getting their numbers too.
Yeah, I'm sure Kim will bring in his forest fire stuff for me next week.
You know,
You
wheelbarrow.
guys will sign, yeah, well, you already had a bunch last
This-
week, but.
Well, no, 105% on forest fire wages. Did that include the last week?
No, you haven't even got the bills from the last two fires.
Oh, yeah, not Alstead fire.
Is it 31 acres on Surrey Mountain?
Yeah.
On the weekend.
All of that.
No, so you don't have any of those bills yet.
So even the first one wasn't in, isn't
I
in this?
don't believe
I
so.
don't think so. I think the other,
I think the only bills you've got is Stoddard
Stoddard,
bills and.
that's it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. Alright. The last thing I had on here was Facebook, and I know you saw it.
That's why I'm here.
Okay.
There was a positive side to all of this, if that's possible, given the negative situation of things burning around us. We sort of had what we would call a flash mob response to the generosity of the townspeople, the surrounding townspeople and so forth, that in virtual time to the ambulances and fires' needs, brought in what they needed for food, water, et cetera, to keep them going. And it was fabulous to see the community's response and willingness to jump in, very similar to what happened with the fires. It was, I just wanted to clarify with you guys that that's what happened. I don't know that any of it was really kind of intentional. It just sort of happened that they said, hey, we could use some water and some food and some granola bars and a couple of pop-up tents. I think we're going to be here for a while. And we put that out there. Boom. You know, next thing I know, we've got 50 cases of water and 50 cases of Gatorade. I mean, just stuff coming from everywhere. And then as time progressed, and the guys have been out there for hours and said, well, what we ought to do is, they said, well, we could use some food. Next thing I know, Diamond and people extending towns also, like there were Walpole firefighters' wives that called in, that delivered water and donations. So those mutual aid companies that came here to assist us in the firefighting, they also sort of assisted with taking care of their own and our guys too, and it assisted the ambulance and the fire big time. Now, I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. I didn't want to do an auxiliary. I'm everybody kind of got to contribute in whatever way they best could.
Right.
In their own availability space, without feeling politics involved. However, it was never my intent, nor do I want it to be the intent of anybody to make it feel that it is, understanding fire scenes, I've been in this a while, most people know that, that it is, that I would want to respond to it with the needs of the fire and the ambulance, and not stepping on anyone's toes, and hope that we can progress that way in the future, as long as nobody has a real issue with it. And if they have a real issue with it, I don't know how we stop freight train anyway.
Yeah.
Because people are gonna do what they're gonna do. You know, everybody out there has got a cell phone and so forth. So basically, what happened is just kind of guiding, this is what they say they need right this minute. Let's get them that instead of having, you know, another 3,000 more cases of water.
Right.
When we're already adequate there,
Right.
let's go for the next thing and keep it going. And I just wanted to see that everybody was on board with it, hope that they liked it, hope that it would, and that the town should be so proud of themselves. It was just the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Absolutely, and I gotta say, what impressed me was exactly what you said. It was what they needed. So after the first fire, in Alstead, I should say, because there's been fires all over, I talked to one of the guys on the squad, and he's like, you know, we really need to stockpile some bottled water.
No, you don't.
You know, we really should have some at the station, so that when there's a fire, we've got something to take out there.
You now have cases of it in both
Right.
stations.
But the point being is, do you want to trust a bunch of government bureaucrats
No.
to try to figure out what the right amount of water is, and do you want to spend your tax dollars to figure out what we think's the right number? And I think it's great that we as a town can come together and
Well,
address needs at a
We
much
had businesses that gave hundreds of
Oh, I
dollars
know.
worth of goods.
pizza place in Charles.
At the minute it was requested, Shaw's, we
Yeah.
had a runner go over there, they gave them the groceries to buy and make sandwiches for 150 people. We had 3 people make 150 sandwiches in less than an hour's time, and get it into the fire scene in that amount of time. We had Diamond Pizza over there deliver us, through the process of these 2 fires, over 2 dozen pizzas.
Yeah.
And that's considerable cost to them. I mean, they weren't the little ones, they were the great big ones. Mr. G's,
We gotta get
I don't even know really how many cases of water they got us. We had citizens that came in, and one guy was so cute. This elderly gentleman handed me $40 and said, I don't know what to do with them, but I want to do something. I hear they need coffee. And I said, well, would it be okay with you then if we took your money and went over and bought boxes of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts for the firefighters?
Sure.
He was so thrilled. So everybody got to participate in their little ability. And I really hope that we can go forward with that. I don't care who takes the lead. I don't know that anyone takes the lead. I just think with the way we worked it with the Alstead ambulance and the fire and all of our posts, that it would be something we would be able to pursue in the future.
I think the best thing we, as selectmen, can possibly do is stay out of your way. Honestly, I mean, because they will. People are going to take care. I mean, that's every phone call. By the time I got around to getting up there, everything had already been taken care of.
Right. I guess the thing that I was most, and the Red Cross did come in the very end and for the mop-up the next
I
day.
understand.
I think when I read the newspaper, or it was brought to my attention, what I was most concerned with was that people's feelings would be hurt. That, well, wait a minute, where did the stuff that we, and I said, well, no. The Red Cross came in to just assist. handing things out.
Yeah.
We had more than enough and it's really good to know they're there to back us up. Now, if Kim was gonna have a problem with that, as far as I would want it